Oi. Hi. I'm wet. Get your mind out of it. I am actively, I don't know if this is going to do it. You guys can see. There. This is the color it's supposed to be. And that was behind my arm, so there's probably, there's where the backpack was. Anyways, yeah, it started raining right as I got out of the bakery and the butcher. Going from butcher to baker is not a problem, because, so I didn't record on the phone. I wanted to. I was gonna have a little one take thing, and then have and then upload that, go to therapy, because homegirl behind me at Central was just screaming about Jesus. I know you probably, I rewatched the story video on TikTok, and that's what she's screaming about. You couldn't really hear it, and I understand that last dagen, the end van de dagen may not necessarily ring a bell with people. Wie durft hij is who dares him, to be fair. I don't know. But she was literally screaming so loud. But the KLM plane was flying overhead into Schiphol that you couldn't hear her over it, but I could, because I have autism ears and 2 inputs, and the phone has maybe 1 microphone, so it's trying to gather all of it at once and then digitize that enough. So it didn't work out very well. But that's what she's screaming about. She was screaming at people for riding a bike on the sidewalk. She was screaming at the trams for passing by her while she was literally sitting on a barricade, one of the concrete triangle things, right next to the trams. She'd yell at the tram drivers, they're going to hell unless they repent. Yeah, she was not on the meds today. Intertussa, just tussa. She's tussa dosering. She's between doses, I guess. I don't know. Usually she's not that loud, but maybe with the earthquakes and the fact that 3 high-profile places are in the news about volcanoes, so people realize that more than one happens a day. They think it's the end of days. Because you got Mexico City, you've got rumblings in Italy, and then another one that's actually in Italy, plus what's happening in Iceland. And guys, literally. There's so many more. I cannot tell you how many are erupting in Oceania right now. It's just that you don't know or care about them, and it's frequency. When the Iceland thing comes about, and then, or maybe, you only hear, you're like, Iceland, oh yeah, Iceland, and then, you're thinking about, I don't know, it's no more earthquakes other than Grundtvig, and then there's no more volcanoes than usual. Iceland and the Pacific Northwest have volcano drills and earthquake drills. They're on the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. Anyways, so I want to get this hoodie off, but I want to say, so that's what my vlog was going to be. It was just going to be me filming, take the phone and I can take you off the trigger and just kind of do this with a homegirl right back there. But I decided not to consider many reasons. But anyways, and then I went to therapy, talked. Since I was riding on the tram to get there, I was waiting for the 2. I wound up actually taking the 12 because I don't know what happened to the 2. Anyways, so I was riding a tram, and then since I had to walk from Light Supply and get therapy. And just, I was running into a lot more tourists. When you're on a train that goes by Leidseplein, Driegrachten, Prinsen, Kaiser, and and Herrengracht, and goes by, the flower market, and goes by de Dam, not through, but by on the Achterkant, the backside. Yeah, you're going to get a lot of tourists on there, but it gets me to realize. And this touches upon, because I've been thinking about this ever since I sent that TikTok to Matt. And I sent him one a while back that was, or I stitched a video on TikTok and says, I've been living in Europe long enough that my TikTok is now on the Brutschen Dieren film. It's animal documentaries. Dieren. Tierfilm, animal movie documentary. But it's Brötchen, buns, which is so German. The Brötchen are they're just everywhere, that they're in the wild. And right now it's like leaving its scent markers, which is just basically toothpaste. And it's trying to scare away rival Brötchens from its breeding grounds by excreting toothpaste. I don't know, but the other one I sent him, and I think I didn't repost it, but I shared it to him, and I was like, it doesn't matter if you don't understand German. If you kind of understand German, the word, the opportunity, like even the comments on the video, I don't understand what he's saying, but I feel it. That's what I've been getting at all these years. You don't need to know what someone says. There is way more similar between people than, like, Matt, you know. Ik ben magie. Digga. Ik ben magie, wat is los? If you know German, he's like, I'm magic. Dude, this is magic. What is happening? And all he did was he cut an onion, and he was doing the typical TikTok thing where he cut an onion and was going to talk about something while cutting an onion. But the onion got cut, and it rolled, and it just boom, boom. And so he rolled it with the knife and tipped it back over, and it just rolled on its curved side and landed up on the other side. And then he centered it, filmed it on camera, and rolled it again, screaming, I'm magic. What is happening? That's it. If you think about people being a collection of... I was telling this to my therapist today, but it's not really a secret. It's just one of those insights that I guess comes when you become an international. At least when you get onto international TikToks and internet. Because you think, if you live in New England or the Pacific Northwest or the South, that everyone around you kind of experiences roughly the same thing. Like everyone in the South understands what you do during a hurricane. Maybe not everybody, but generally they have a hurricane story if they've lived there for more than 10 years. And so, in the Pacific Northwest, we all have an earthquake story. In New England, there's, I don't know, old enough people have the blackout story. Other people have a nor'easter story or Sandy or something. Everybody kind of gets it, and there's certain things around the Northeast, or even the Northeast part, not even New England, but the Northeast part. The Northeast part of the States has, Genos. I know that's further south. I know my geography, but the East Coast and especially north of that area understands Geno's Philly cheesesteaks. I don't fucking care about Geno's. I like Philly cheesesteaks, but I don't need to have authentic Philadelphia Geno's Philadelphia cheesesteak. I don't, because it's not a thing from the Pacific Northwest. And this kind of brings up, because Aaron was having to be fair, it may have just, we talked about it later after camera, and he goes, well, it was definitely the ragu. Like, it wasn't like, but there wasn't any like meat or cheesiness to it, but it was just basically like, it was like the ragu. Anyways, he didn't say that, oh, well, this is terrible, because he doesn't even think he ate it. But, we could go there some other time soon. Anyways, yeah, so, but that's, I'm rewinding my brain here. That's what I was kind of getting at all these years. There's so much similar. And all these expat life on TikTok, these constantly looking for the differences. Look at this cute little difference. Look at this minor little thing that is so horrendously different from where I'm from. Okay. Oh, no, I was talking about the United States. So we'll wrap that one in. So you don't really and you all speak English to an extent. I know the South and some parts of, whatever. And when you get into thick Boston, trust me, my brother-in-law, his accent was real bad when he got out here. And it's kind of died off, but it still comes out every once in a while. One does not grow up in Massachusetts and not carry that accent the rest of your life. But anyways, Matt's going to get mad at me because I don't have that accent. Yeah, you do. But yeah, so I ended up sitting here and I'm like, people are, sentience is similar to people. Language is just the filter in which it comes out. And the thing is you've got these disconnected expats that move abroad and then suddenly start making their entire content about what the differences are between usually America and wherever they currently live, France, Netherlands, nobody talks about Belgium, the UK, Finland, I've seen a lot. And they all find the little tiny differences, and then you hear them at some point usually talk about, like, why is everybody sowing so much division? We're all one. And, like, you are a part of it. And I understand that is part of the internet, is sowing division, per se, to get clicks. Because if you aren't saying something off the wall for people to fight in the comments, then you're not going to get any engagement. And thus people want to make money, so they're rage baiting after a fashion. They're not actively rage baiting, but they're doing the thing that they see other people do that makes money. But it does sow division, because it points out how much different, and they don't think they're doing it. But being someone, me, who was basically born outside the box, and I've been striving my entire life to appear like I'm inside the box, realizing it's almost impossible to get into the box because there's so much force of people trying to get out of the box that you can't get into the box. And that maybe I could orbit the box. But anyways, that's getting a little off topic. But the general thing is there. That it's like, these expats, they think they're being different. They think they're being quirky because they're pointing out the differences, because the similarities are boring. Things that are the same no, it's not. Everybody is out there too busy pointing out differences. Oh, well, the Dutch don't like spicy food. Oh, okay, yeah. How about you prop up the fact that mashed potatoes and sauerkraut with a smoked sausage on it is fucking delicious. Like, it's not exquisite food, but it's great tasting. It's hearty. I know. It's just raining today. I know. It's just the worst. Anyways, but yeah, like, and with the Brötchen, you don't have to, like, to be fair, it's nice to understand German when listening to that, because it is posted in naturalized Germanic language. But the general idea, especially if you hit the C translation on TikTok, and I'm not sure many Americans don't actually know that exists because they don't have to use it for most of their stuff. But then another language comes by and they skip past. They don't realize there's a C translation. And maybe it doesn't exist in the States, but it exists here. I'll watch a TikTok 3 or 4 times in Dutch. And then, like, if I'm laughing at the first, it's because there's different ways of learning the language and getting in. And a lot of it helped with football. So a lot of it was hearing, reacting. Don't think about it, react to it. So I hear a TikTok in Dutch and I'll laugh at it and I won't know why. Not because it wasn't funny, because Max is hilarious. But sometimes, Noel, hilarious. Sometimes I have to replay it over and over for Aaron so I can tell him what the words mean. Because in football, I had to listen fast. Because this was their third place. This wasn't a thing where they they were like already in the mode of being able to transcribe their thoughts into at least the common language of business. They were in the relaxed state. I was the outsider. So I had to learn to think and react I had to like listen and react without thinking per se. You're still thinking about it, I know. And so we have multiple just instances, and like I said, I share them with Matt, and I am trying to get across the idea, and I know he's got it, he's not dumb, that the language is literally just, if you make the language out to be the biggest deal, then you're going to have a major problem digesting content. Because by and large, you could watch a lot of international multilingual TikToks and still get what this is. I have had to engage certain behaviors here that I should have learned in the States, but I had a crutch. Everybody knew my language. I grew up in Portland. Everybody spoke English. And if you didn't speak English, that was a detriment to you. And so it creates a bit, different topic. But here, they were all speaking Dutch. They all spoke English. They all speak English. I don't want to say spoke, because they're still alive. And they still know it. But like today at the butcher, Benjamin was in, Benji. And he was clarifying with me that Stanche 2 in some instances can be used as a rebuttal to a conversation. I didn't fully get what he said. But because he spoke really fast and I didn't quite get what he said, and so I thought he was talking about this, what I liked about the setting of 2 on the meat slicer for One Spite Spec. He says, oh, no, what I was saying is, I'm like, oh, that it's a rebuttal when you're correcting someone. And I was like, okay, I don't quite get that. So I smiled and nodded, and I thought about it later. Like, I cashed it all and I'll think about it later. But, anyways, my generalized idea is I've been dealing with, Benji, and then going into the there is, I find so much similar between cultures, and this is going to be predominant when we go to Munich. When Aaron and I were in Stockholm, yeah, we went to O'Leary's, but like, and the dude spoke English just fine, mainly because he's next to the Haymarket, like big international hotel in Stockholm, and you are at effectively an Irish pub, but not. And so you're going to get a big international crowd. You better be pretty good with the English. But that's still, like, I think I made a joke, and he even understood it. And he was like, maybe young millennial, 28 or something. Maybe approaching 30. It's kind of hard to tell. The Swedes have such young-looking people overall. You find someone, you're just like, oh, wow, how old are you? And they're like, 35. And you're like, you look like you just popped out of high school. It must be, so letting your baby sit out in the outside the grocery store in the freezing weather. That must be it. Just leave your babies outside for like an hour while they nap while you're in shopping, while it's like -10. No big deal, they'll survive. Keeps the skin nice and tight. Anyways, but yeah. Part of the thing that when I'm in, like, I freshly got home. I just emptied out the backpack and I had to get my phone on the charger. So I wanted to get all these thoughts out before I sat and stuff. But yeah, I'm tired of expat culture and expat life, hashtag, where they're constantly pointing out the differences. Or they point out the similarities and they act like it's an absolute amazing thing. Like, oh my God, did you know? Over here in Europe, they have yards. And they are not being sarcastic. I didn't realize, I thought everybody lived in a flat, but we were able to buy a house with a full yard for all 6 of our kids. I think I got blocked by that user. Because I told him that a rich family in the United States moved to the rich part of Netherlands and bought a house outright as an immigrant. Oh, yeah. Talk about, are you guys gentrifying Het Hui? I think I got blocked. I haven't seen any of their stuff. Yeah, when you can come as an immigrant and buy a house in the richest part of the Netherlands for a family of 6, I smell embezzlement money. Like, there's no way you have that much disposable cash. But, anyway, especially when none of the kids are, all of the kids are below puberty. Yeah. Embezzlement and, religious freedom. Anyways, that's a different topic. And so, yeah, I find so much similar. Like, I was walking back somewhere, back at the old apartment on Victoria Straat. I was walking back from somewhere. I think I was just walking back from Amstel on a nice day, and a kid, threw a rubber ball at his friend. Like, they were kicking it around, but it was definitely one of those rubber balls that everybody in their 30s from the United States can hear the sound of. You can I can't mimic it, but you know that sound. Whether it's hitting a laminated floor or just hitting your skin, you know that sound. I can hear it right now. I can't mimic it. But, it was that kind of ball. And it hit the other kid who was guarding the goal right in the chest, and he goes, oof. And the one kid says, Jammer for yay. And I was like, does that mean sucks to be you? And I asked Cherry that, and he's like, yeah. It's bad grammar. I'm like, well, they're 8. He goes, well, then that makes sense. They were 8. Jammer for yay. Sucks to be you. And, because I'd heard a lot of the word jammer at football. Because people would miss a pass or, jammer. Anyways. And I don't know. I'm more obsessed with finding and seeing the things in the world that bind people together. The humor that is pervasive throughout a larger base than just a singular country. The fact that the internet is causing, but it's still like, what was that kid doing with the Onion? He was trying to do a TikTok trend based on a dude from America. So he was trying to copy something and wound up doing something else because he was, yeah. And I see so much stuff like that, you know, and I see stuff in real life, like, you know, the chickies. I call them chickies because Myshus feels weird. Myshus is like girls. Mida is like, so I call them chickies because they're typically pretty vapid upstairs. They're not like they're trying to. Sorry for the bird. Just carbonated water. They're trying. They're way more like with getting the selfie. Even if the tram is coming down the line and ringing at them, bring, bring, bring. Oh. And then they get up off the tram tracks, but they're trying to get a nice like down where the trees come in and all that stuff. Different street than you used to see. I'm talking about Sint-Urban. But like, and they're just Dutch girls in the fall trying to get a decent selfie. And they just happen to be standing in the middle of tram tracks. And not thinking about the tram coming down the line. You'd see that shit in New York. You'd see it in Portland. You know, you would see it, you know, anywhere where the leaves are turning. You know, you'd probably see it in Italy. It wouldn't even be the tourists. It would be Italian girls trying to do it. But that's the thing is, like, the culture, like, there's things in a culture that exist. Honesty, bluntness, that's Dutch. Little German. But typically very Dutch. Germans almost understand. Like, I don't know why people see them as different, because when I hear Germans speak, they're very blunt in what they're saying. But I guess the Dutch are being brash about it, and the Germans are being matter of fact. And so with the Germans, you don't hear it as rude. You hear the Dutch saying it is rude. And that might just be how the Germans speak English and how the Dutch speak English. But yeah, if you guys want a good idea, like, if you're busy talking to Germans and they're like being really honest with you, imagine that same person but is 100% done with your shit, and that's the Dutch. Like, they have been there, done that a bajillion times, and they are so tired of it. And they're just going to tell you, no, you're wrong. That's it. They won't explain why unless you ask. They'll just tell you you're wrong. Yeah, anyways. I will let you guys go. I will put this stuff on the computer and resync the videos. Get the, yeah, it's been like 28 minutes on the camera, which means it's made 2 files already.